Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover. It's lunch break, Throwback Thursday. I am Kris Gardner, owner of the Houston Roundball Review. Watch us on YouTube, Twitch, Musk, Fire TV, and Roku, courtesy of BS3 TV. If you have a Roku streaming device, just download BS3 TV. If not, just go to bs3network.com. Let's have some fun. Let's get into it. These 55 minutes or so, give or take, roughly. I may go shorter today. Who knows? Just finished up barely before I got a chance to start this edition of the show. Houston Cougars head coach, men's hoops head coach Kelvin Sampson had his Zoom session minutes ago. And there was a lot of questions, unfortunately. I asked most of them, well, only 3 of them. Got his thoughts on the passing of Bobby Knight. Coach Sampson told some great stories. Apparently, Bobby Knight, AJ Jones, was a fan of, was it Good Bar candy, something like that? But it was some great stories there. Have video not post game, but clips from it posted on the Houston Roundball Review on YouTube momentarily or later on this afternoon. But Coach Sampson just talked about what he learned from Coach Knight, how Coach Knight helped him when he was a young coach, up-and-coming coach. And that's a little tidbit there for you on this edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover. Senior comments, of course. Football. Let's talk some football. I'm not sure how I want to do this. I'm going to talk about the Houston Cougars. I'm going to discuss head coach Dana Holgorsen. We're going to discuss with you guys Rockets, SWAC, football, the Big 12, American football. Basketball season for college hoops starts officially on Monday, November 6th. So you decide where you want to go. Miss Wanda, thank you very much for listening. Folks who are chiming in, thank you for chiming in on YouTube or Twitch or Roku via BS3 Network. We're going to have fun. I'm going to try to share the screen because this article via Brad Towns on GoCoogs.com. Dana defenders, Dana detractors, let me know your thoughts on this. Coach Holgorsen's comments this is from Tuesdays, his weekly coaches show, his thoughts on recruiting regarding the class of 2024, the class 2025, and beyond. Sounds like a man who is secure in his job. And if you are a fan of Houston Cougars football, that's not a good thing. So let's see if I can do this, share this screen right, and we can have some fun here. But yeah, comments from Coach Holgorsen regarding recruiting. Forget about 24. Just forget about it. He was asked about recruiting and how things were going 2024. Okay? Keep that in mind. How things are going for recruiting. Let's just keep that in mind. It's sad, folks. It's a valid question. You know, there's so many things that go into recruiting, and recruiting has changed so much. There's the high school guys that you recruit, which right now, you know, the majority of the recruiting that we're doing right now is more 25s from a high school perspective. If you're still trying to recruit 24s right now from a high school perspective, you're late, right? So you can say, why is year 24 high school recruiting better? It's a good question. It's not great right now. I've said this a lot. If you're still trying to recruit 24s right now from a high school perspective, you are late. So you can say, why isn't the 24 high school recruiting better? It's a good question. It's repetitive. You notice that? It's not great right now. I've said this a lot when it comes to recruiting. For Big 12 recruiting, 24s need to see a Big 12 schedule. They need to see fans in the stands and exciting atmospheres like we witnessed 2 weeks ago. They need to see dirt being moved on a new building. And I'm going to stop right there. Just going to stop right there. That's really another point. Let's stop right there. Because Rex says it right here. He has excuses for everything. It's an excuse. And a great example of the excuse. Kelvin Sampson, men's basketball. Before the Guy V. Lewis Development Center was built, told media, told fans, told alums, we did not take recruits over to Hofheinz because folks know Hofheinz was a dump and was in need of being rebuilt, all the kind of things. But Coach had renderings, drawings to show recruits. He showed the recruits that, showed them the vision of what will be when you get here. One person who bought into that vision, Galen Robinson Jr. Galen Robinson Jr. is credited with being the key to unlock the recruiting in the Houston area. Coach Sampson sold Galen Robinson Jr. on the vision, the belief of what he could help accomplish at the University of Houston with drawings, not dirt being taken out of the ground, anything like that. So maybe Dana's not a great salesman when it comes to recruits and drawings and belief. It is point here from Rex. It's almost like recruiting is everyone's fault but his coaching. And again, I said it. Galen Jr. is the godfather of this era of Houston Cougars men's basketball. So Dana, the issue with Dana, the 24s, they need to see the shovels going into the ground before they believe. It's not impacting the 25s. Well, Rex, as far as I know, there hasn't been any shovels going into the ground yet for the football ops building. That begins next month, right? So what are you telling those 25s right now? There's no shovel in the dirt yet. Folks, people who continue to defend Dana Holgorsen, just stop. Stop. He's not worth it. And his own words prove to you that he's not worth it. Stop defending this man. But again, he sounds like a man very, very, very secure in his job. So to that, I don't blame him. I blame the folks in charge who write his check and who continue to write that check and continue believing this stuff he continues to spin and shovel. He's good at shoveling stuff. Not going to get into much about the butt whooping, the 41 zip whitewash the team felt this past Saturday in Manhattan, Kansas. K-State Wildcats put a thumping on the Cougs. 41 zip. First shutout in Houston Cougars football in 23 years. And that's some lean years. That's some bad football during that time. But first time in shutout, the offensive genius was just offensive. I don't know what else to continue. What else y'all need to see to cut ties with this man? It's a big game this Saturday. I'm going to bounce around, go right to Big 12 schedule. Right in the middle there. No shade on tonight's matchup. I'll get to that in a second. Houston at Baylor. Houston Cougars 3-5 overall. 1-4 in Big 12 at Baylor. Baylor's also 3-5, but they're 2-3 in conference play. 2:30 kickoff this Saturday. Game is Big 12 now, so it's ESPN Plus. So you got to spend some money if you want to see this titanic tilt of two disappointing teams, some folks' perspective. Coach Dave Aranda's seat in Waco is warm. Dana Holgerson's seat is not warm enough, in my opinion. It might get warmer if they lose in Waco on Saturday. Rex, what do you say? What say you? What will happen this Saturday? Will the Cougs win in Waco? What do you think? Will they find a way to get it done this Saturday? I think last I saw the line was Baylor was 4.5-point favorite. Let me see if I can pull up the accurate one as of today. Baylor, yeah, still 4.5. Oh, no, Baylor -4. Baylor -4. This is part of it. that logic from Rex is true. Buried that game on ESPN Plus, but I think it's also a case of Big 12 teams get, 1 or 2 games every conference matchup will be on Big 12 now. So I think it's more a case of that as well. So, but yeah, looking at it, 2, 3, and 5 teams, 2 teams with coaches who fans want to see gone. I'm not sure about how the administration feels about that. I'm kind of curious to see what Cougs team's going to show up. They probably have high school buddies on the Baylor roster who they were teammates with. That might be motivating enough for them to do something productive, constructive, to get the win, to improve to 2 and 4 in conference play and 4 and 5. It's an away game. Cougs haven't done anything on the road. Which brings me to, let's discuss it, Rex. And by the way, thank you for chiming in the comments and questions. I'll get back to the schedule in a moment. If the Cougs lose that game, they'd be 1 and 5 in the Big 12. 3 and 6 overall. 3 and 6. That's 9 games. They'd have 3 more left on the schedule after this Saturday. Oklahoma State, which probably not going to win. I mean, heck, Oklahoma State, based on track record, because the Cowboys have a winning record. Dana's record at Houston against teams with winning records is trash. So that'd be a loss. So that's 3 and 7. And then last 2. And other than that, they have, because homecoming's coming up on the 11th. But outside of Oklahoma State, UCF and Cincinnati, both those teams are winless in conference play. So that could be games the Cougs should be favored to win. Doesn't mean they're going to win them. But this Saturday, if the Cougs lose in Waco, go to 3 and 6, doesn't that increase their chances of not finishing 6 and 6? Because very few folks would predict the Cougs to beat Oklahoma State, right or wrong. So if the Cougs lose this Saturday, they'd fall to 3 and 6. If they lose, everybody expects them to lose to Oklahoma State. That's the 7th loss. That means the best they could do would be 5 and 7. Houston Cougars AD Kris Pesman, I've said it a lot. I will continue saying it. He said it in July at the Big 12 Football Media Day. A successful season, in his opinion, his words, a successful season would be being bowl eligible, going 6 and 6. Well, if they go 5 and 7, based on Kris Pesman's words, that is not a successful season. So you get where I'm going here. If they finish 5 and 7, that's not a successful season, according to Kris Pesman's own words. Combine that with the shaky attendance sales for the home games, especially going forward, especially with no Longhorns coming here and any of that. The excuses that the head coach continues to say week to week, game to game. I'm saying this Saturday's game against Baylor should be the beginning of the end for Dana Holgorsen if the Cougs lose. This is an important game for all the for all the Dana doubters and not the Dana friends of the program, which are not many of those, but there are enough who have the deeper pockets. So what happens? So Rex, I put it to you. 24 recruits, high school recruits, Dana says it's done. They ain't worry about it. That's over. If the Cougs lose this Saturday in Waco to the Bears on ESPN Plus, Big 12 now on ESPN Plus, what say you, Rex? What say you? The Cougs in your opinion, if the Cougs lose, I'll ask you right now. If the Cougs lose this Saturday at 3-6, do you believe they would finish the season with a 3-game winning streak to finish out at 6-6? I'm kind of curious what you think about that. I believe I kind of know the answer, but give it to me in the comments. Do you believe? No. All right. So we're saying it now. This is how important I believe. Well, it should be, because goodness knows the UH administration has dropped the ball and backtracked on its own words numerous times and continues to have head coaches on campus who have not done anything regarding going to a tournament, if ever, or at least in quite a few years. Other sports there, you know what I'm talking about. So Rex even going further than that. He's not saying 5-7. He's saying 4-8. So OSU is a loss, and the Cougs will drop one of Cincy or UCF. Wow. Cincinnati's homecoming for the Cougs. That's November 11th. So to finish out, this Saturday in Waco against Baylor. Next Saturday, homecoming for the Cougs versus Cincinnati. Senior day, oh my goodness, senior day against Oklahoma State. And then close out the season on the road in Orlando at UCF. Donna, hey, Miss Donna Holman, how are you? Thank you for chiming in to this edition of The Lunch Break, the Houston Roundball Review Takeover, powered by JM&E, streaming live on Facebook, Twitch, Roku, YouTube, courtesy of the BS3 Network. Okay, Rex. If the Cougs finish 4-8, do you believe that Houston administration will make a change and bite the bullet, fire Dana, and pay the buyout? Everybody chiming in. I see the viewers creeping up on the platforms on YouTube. Give me your comments. Don't be shy here. We're family here on this show. Don't be shy. The Cougs finished 4-8. Colleague Joseph Duarte, earlier in his this week's notebook of his on the Chronicle, put in print he wouldn't be surprised if the Cougs finished 3-9 based on how they performed Saturday at K-State. You don't know what team's going to show up for Houston week to week now. Oh, Rex. Rex 32. I believe he'll get fired for the sake of saving next season tickets. Financially, that makes sense. It does. It makes a lot of sense. One friend of mine is also an alum. That's the reason he cites for Houston making a move, making a change. That season ticket sales next year, they bring Dana back. It's just a sunk cost bringing him back. And to show you the struggles that the Baylor Bears are having in football, this Saturday's game against the Cougs, You can get tickets for as low as $5. So see how far Baylor has gone in a short amount of time. Coogs at Baylor, 2 longtime Southwest Conference rivals, first time meeting in years, in Waco. You can get tickets for as low as $5. Money, financial reasons, financial decisions, sometimes you got to do what's right for the program. But yes, Dana Holgorsen said this week on this coach's show, as far as high school, the class of 24 recruits, it's not great. It's done. Not going to get any better. It's done. Moving on to the 25 and 26s. Because those kids, they need to visualize. They need to see the construction of the football house building beginning. They need to see that shovel in the ground. They need to see it. And since that hasn't happened yet, they're not considering Houston. Okay. You said it, Mr. Excuses. But all right. Back to it. Well, no. I'm going to take a quick break. For those, don't go away when I play the clip. Got to play some promo. Got to, pay some bills, folks. This is the BS3 Network. In case you're wondering, Chris, what is the BS3 Network? Going to show you this from my man, and I got to work with Cole Johnson, Cole Sports, with the Z, because he and I got to talk about the Washington football team and that disaster. And they'll be making changes with their coaching staff, hopefully, at the end of this season as well. But come back in about 70 seconds. But here's one of the shows and one of the people who I work with here on the BS3 Network.
If you're looking for a sports program that gives you the flavor.
Washington Commanders? Really?
This whole thing stinks to high heaven.
That pulls no punches.
Thuggish act by a thuggish actor.
That gives you some humor.
Praise everything LeBron does and never criticize it.
If you want a show that gives you good times, then this is that show. BS3 Network proudly presents.
I am Cole Johnson, and welcome to
Cole Sports with a Z. Every Friday on Patreon and every Saturday on YouTube, Spreaker, and all other outlets.
Welcome back to the Houston Roundball Review Takeover, powered by JM&E. I am, of course, KG Kris Gardner. Welcome. It's the lunch break, but it's me in charge of the lunch break. That's why it's the Houston Roundball Review Takeover, powered by JM&E and also on the BS3 Network. If you have a Roku streaming device, just download BS3 TV. If not, just go to bs3network.com. My colleague, Will knows, right there, 12-2, 8-5, 3-5. Currently, would you keep him? He knows I wouldn't. Hell no, I wouldn't keep him. And for those holding out hope that with the addition of Colorado next season coming to the Big 12, the Coogs will face them at home. That'll be a boost to ticket sales next year. Nope, not next year. The Big 12 opponents for the Coogs next season announced this week. Home games: Baylor, Iowa State, Kansas State, and Utah. Sell those tickets to that. All right. One more time. Baylor, Iowa State, Kansas State, and Utah. Road games in the Big 12 for the Cougs: Arizona, BYU, Cincinnati, Kansas, and TCU. That's next season, 2024. 25 and 27. Colorado comes to Houston, but not in 24. So the home games, Big 12 home games next season for the Cougs: Baylor, Iowa State, Kansas State, and Utah. Promote that. Marketing department, sell that. Yeah, he's coming back for the second year to lead us into our year 2 in the Big 12. And we got games against Baylor, Iowa State, K-State, and Utah. Get your tickets now. All righty. Football in the American. Utah going to be a beatdown. That's what that is. But in terms of the programs, the current, this year's Big 12 teams, with the Longhorns and Sooners leaving after this season, K-State, in my opinion, should be the team, the Cougs, the Houston Cougars, because BYU's in the conference now as well, that Houston models itself after. Don't have to get lots of 4 stars and 5 stars. You got a good head coach who's disciplined, coaches his players up, makes them better in all 3 phases of the game. That's K-State. It can be done with the right head coach. And I want to say one of my colleagues put out there about recruiting, getting back to the recruiting criticism of Dana. The Cougs have 8 different recruiting staffers on this staff. 8. You're in the Big 12, you got a larger budget. What are those 8 doing if they cannot sell the high school seniors on the vision of Houston Cougs football in the Big 12? What are they doing that high school recruiting is going so poorly? What's going on there? What are y'all doing? If you can't get it done effectively, maybe you shouldn't be there. Let other folks do it. Get that check. I could use that check. AAC football. Let's talk schedules. This show can go by so fast with the and salute one more time. Let me give this, not for the first time, let me give a salute to the questions, the comments from my audience. Salute to you. Thank you very much. All right. These skills from the top rope. Those 8 are in charge of recruiting excuses every week. Well, in that case, they're doing a great job. They're earning their money. This Saturday, for the American, Big 12, and SWAC, I believe everybody is playing. Nobody's got a bye week this week. Is there a vision to share? The vision is, I'll come back to that because I have a smart remark. But real quickly, in the American this weekend, this Saturday, Navy at Temple on ESPN Plus. Temple, Will, head coach, has not won a game in conference play. Will. Florida Atlantic, Tom Herman, 3-1 in conference at UAB. Blazers, Trent Dilfer coaching them. They're 1-3. That game's on ESPN Plus. 2 p.m. kickoff. UTSA, 4-0 in conference play at North Texas. Mean Green 1-3. 2 p.m. kickoff on ESPN Plus. South Florida at Memphis. Bulls 2-2 in conference. Tigers 3-1. Game also ESPN Plus, 2 p.m. kickoff. Best team in the American. Tulane. Coach Willie Fritz, 7-1 overall, 4-0 in the American at East Carolina. And this game's on ESPNU. Woo. Pirates 1-7, 0-4 in conference, 2:30 on ESPNU. Charlotte 2-6, 1-3 in conference at Tulsa. Yeah, that's been 3 p.m. on ESPN Plus. Last but not least, the other undefeated team in conference play, SMU at Rice. Rice 2-2 in conference. Game is on ESPNU. Rice got a chance to get a big win, beat a state rival before they head to the AAC. Game is on ESPNU, 6:30 p.m. kickoff. Fans, if you're in town, if you're a Rice alum, go to the stadium. Support your Rice Owls. Big 12 tonight. TCU at Texas Tech. Both teams 2-3 in conference play. Horned Frogs 4-4 overall. Raiders 3-5 overall. 6 p.m. on FS1. First game on Saturday for Big 12. K-State at Texas. Both teams 4-1 in Big 12 play. K-State 6-2. Horned 7-1. 11 o'clock on Fox. Then Bedlam. Last Bedlam for a while. Sounds like. Sooners 7-1 overall. 4-1 in Big 12. At the Cowboys. Also 4-1 in Big 12. 6-2 overall. 2:30 p.m. on ABC. As we discussed, the 1-4 Coogs in Big 12 play at the 2-3 Bears. 2:30 p.m. on Big 12 now on ESPN Plus. And oh, you thought that was a big one. This one right here. UCF 3-5 overall, 0-5 in Big 12 at Cincinnati. Also 0-5 in Big 12, 2-6 overall. 2:30 p.m. on FS1. That should be a ratings bonanza right there. Next, Kansas 6-2 overall, 3-2. And let me apologize to Jayhawk football. Last Thursday's show, I said, ooh, Kansas, why would you schedule Oklahoma for homecoming? Then Jayhawks went out and beat Oklahoma and said, Kris, that's why. Okay, well, I was wrong. Y'all were right. Salute. Jayhawks at Iowa State. Iowa State 5-3 overall, 4-1 in Big 12. 6 p.m. on the mothership, ESPN. Last but not least, BYU 5-3 overall, 2-3 in Big 12 at West Virginia. Whoever wins that game will be bowl eligible. Both teams are 5-3 overall. Mountaineers 3-2 in Big 12 play. 6 o'clock on FS1. SWAC play tonight. Oh, tonight, this one. This is what happens when you schedule, I don't know, you just pick and don't have set teams you want to see on TV. On ESPNU tonight, Mississippi Valley State, 1-7 overall, 1-4 in the SWAC at Bethune-Cookman, 1-7 overall, 0-5 in SWAC, 6:30 p.m. on ESPNU. Yes, that game is on ESPNU. This Saturday, November 4th, Florida A&M, the best team in the SWAC, 7-1 overall, undefeated in SWAC play at 6-0 at Alabama A&M. A&M 4-4, 2-3 in SWAC play, 1 o'clock on ESPN Plus. Southern 5-3 Jaguars, 4-1 in SWAC play at Alabama State. State's won 3 in a row. I think that was my dark horse from a few weeks ago. Looking pretty good. Thank you very much for helping me be right for once. Therefore, both teams 4-1 in the SWAC. 2 p.m. on ESPN Plus. Homecoming for Prairie View versus Pine Bluff. Arkansas Pine Bluff. Pine Bluff is 0-5 in SWAC. Panthers 3-2 in SWAC. 2 p.m. on HBCU Go. Miss Donna, Texas Southern, 2-6 overall, 1-4 in the SWAC at Jackson State. 6-3 overall, 4-2 in SWAC. 2 p.m. on ESPN Plus. Last, not least, Grambling State, 4-4. Hugh Jackson bounced back after losing homecoming. 4-4 overall, 3-2 in SWAC. And that's Alcorn State, I believe. Alcorn, yeah. Southern plays Alcorn State. It's typo. Southern versus Alcorn State. In the last game is Alabama State. My fault there. My mistake. 4 p.m. All right. The Rockets and the NBA announced. What are your thoughts on this? They announced their city. Hometown Heroes is the theme for the Rockets. Uniform, the city edition uniforms. Take a look. Let me get the info. Show the slide. Thursday morning, the Rockets unveiled their Nike NBA City Edition uniform for this season. These uniforms are a part of the overarching Hometown Heroes storyline, which was developed to celebrate NBA teams' unique connection to their respective cities. The Rockets will amplify Hometown Heroes through Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon, Clyde the Glide Drexler, and how their explosive, high-flying on-court performances carved out a place in basketball culture for the city of Houston. The Rockets will wear these uniforms for 13 designated hometown heroes games throughout this season at Toyota Center. For each hometown heroes night, the Rockets will extend the campaign by recognizing individuals who make a positive impact in the city of Houston and its surrounding communities. There's the slate of games. First one next week, Wednesday the 8th against the Lakers. The 10th, let's see, was it Tuesdays and Fridays in the month of November as part of the play-in tournament. So you might see the ugly court designs as well for those matchups. But there's a matchup right there, 13 games. I want to show you the uniform and the info. These skills, that's part of it. You see how everything's a little bit, everything you see there on the screen, the designs, info, the name, the signature. That's part of it. You see that H-Town on the front, the swoosh, Hakeem and Clyde signatures. They got the dunking astronaut as well on the uniform. Hometown Heroes theme. Here's another look of it. Right there, H-Town 4. The signatures are at the bottom left side there of the jersey. Yeah, I'm kind of like these skills. I'm not feeling these uniforms. I don't know. But I will say this, though. It's interesting how the NBA is good with having ties to the uniforms and things of that sort. With things tied to Houston area sports, unlike the NFL, the No Fun League coming down hard on Houston for the Love Your Blue theme that's in Tennessee and the Titans wearing all that kind of stuff. But that's another issue. Your thoughts on the uniforms, the hometown heroes theme, 13 home games out of the season. The Rockets got their first win of the season Wednesday night, 128-119 over the Charlotte Hornets. Rockets made 21 threes. Rockets had, I think, 35 assists on 42 buckets, something like that. The ball was moving. They made great passes, good to great. Looking good. Good win. Next two home games, last night's game was game 2 of a 7-game homestand. Next game will be Saturday against Sacramento, and then Monday also against Sacramento, and then Wednesday, of course, against the Lakers. So a 7-game homestand. Tony M., how are you? Tony M., thank you for chiming in. Welcome. Missed you earlier. We were talking about Dana Holgorsen and his excuses regarding why the recruiting for high school class of 24 is going so poorly. But your thoughts on that? And Tony M., do you believe the Coogs will win this Saturday in Waco against the Baylor Bears? Let me know. College hoops begins this coming Monday, November 6th. Week 1, Coogs. First game against ULM. Used to be Louisiana Monroe. Now the ULM. 7 p.m. on ESPN Plus. The game on the 11th, Saturday the 11th, against A&M Corpus Christi. Time to be determined because the game for the football game against Cincinnati next week is homecoming week. So I'm assuming my alma mater will have festivities beginning hopefully on Monday, lasting through Saturday. So once TV announces the time for the football game between the Cougs and Cincinnati, that will determine the time for the tip-off between UH basketball and A&M Corpus Christi. Women's hoops begin their season on Friday, November 10th, home against Air Force, 7 p.m. on ESPN Plus. UH women's hoops will have, I want to say, 6 of their first 8 games at home. Got a very home-focused non-conference schedule. I'll answer this question. I think you asked me this last Thursday. Based on the scrimmage, do I think the lineup will change? Starting 5 will change? No. Let's see. It was Jamal Shedd, LJ Cryer, Emmanuel Sharp, Juwan, and Javier Francis. Not think it'll stay that way. Damian Dunn. I did ask Coach Sampson earlier today, an hour ago, how Damian Dunn's ankle was coming along. There's a chance Damian might play this coming Monday versus ULM. Damian's walking around in tennis shoes, walking without a limp, but of course, that's different than playing basketball. So the ankle injury, it's healing. Damian might need to be, this, might need to get some different shoes because apparently he's sprained his ankle a lot going back to summer workouts, the trip to Australia, and then practices lately. So he might need to get some better shoes or different shoes, better fit, whatever. So there's a chance Damian Dunn might play Monday. But the Coogs, as far as guard/wings, they're so deep. Man, oh man. The front court is inexperienced behind Juwan Roberts and Javier Francis. That's where the larger questions are for the team. HCU, week 1. Men's hoops at BYU, 8 p.m. Oh, let me answer this. Go back. So we won't confuse folks. Cordell Jefferson, I doubt it. He's recovered from surgery on each wrist. But because of the depth in the backcourt and the wings, it might be best for him to redshirt this year. Because he probably won't play a lot. But we'll see. I doubt it. I'm leaning more toward him redshirting, being a redshirt this year. Tony M says we could probably beat Baylor. Maybe our coach will put us over the top for the win. He's being sarcastic. Tony, what happens if the Cougs lose to Baylor this Saturday? They'd be 3-6 with a game left out of the 3 against Oklahoma State. Chances are they lose to the Cowboys and at best be 5-7. What do you think? Rex 32 said 4-8, but this Saturday's game against Baylor could go a long way to whether Dana Holgorsen keeps his job or not. In my opinion, I'm wishful thinking there, but putting it out there in the universe. All right, HCU Houston Christian men start their season Monday at BYU, 8 p.m. on ESPN+. Women also Monday the 6th at Rice, 7 p.m. on ESPN+. And then Saturday in Huntsville at Sam Houston State, 7 p.m. No streaming announced for that as of yet. Prairie View. Well, Coach Byron Smith. Next week alone, week 1. Next week alone. 3 games. Monday, Kansas Christian College on campus, on the hill inside the Baby Dome at noon. Then on the road, 2 road games. On the 8th at Seattle, 9 p.m. on ESPN+. And then on the 10th, Friday the 10th at Washington State, 9 p.m. on ESPN+. That game is part of the SWAC Pac-12 HBCU Legacy Series. Women, Lady Panthers, start the season on Thursday the 9th. Houston Tillotson, 5:30 inside the Baby Dome. Rice men, week 1. Tuesday, Election Day. Kind of a surprise doing it on Tuesday, but St. Thomas, 7 p.m. ESPN+. And then Harvard comes to Tudor Fieldhouse Friday, 7 p.m. also on ESPN+. Rice women, as I said, host Houston Christian, 7 p.m. ESPN+. And then on the road, should be a good one. Should be kind of competitive matchup on the 9th at Abilene Christian, 7 p.m. also on ESPN+. Texas Southern, men and women, in the pit on November 6th. Ladies first, 6 p.m. at New Mexico. And then the men afterwards, 8:30. Both games on the Mountain West Network. And I believe that does also apply to the women's game. So both games on the Mountain West Network for TSU against New Mexico on Monday, November 6th. Then the men rounded out Saturday, November 11th at Arizona State. I think it was last year, TSU beat Arizona State inside H&P Arena. But this season matchup on the road in Tempe game, if you have it, one of the few who have Pac-12 Los Angeles. All right, there we go on that. But Tony M., what say you? The Cougs if the Cougs football loses to Baylor, right now Baylor's favorite by -4, going down a half. It was -4.5 yesterday. But if the Cougs lose to the Bears this Saturday, Houston would fall to 3-6 overall, 1-5 in Big 12 play. They would not be favored to beat Oklahoma State. And even though it's a home game for the Cougs, I think most folks who watch this show and watch the Houston Roundball Review and support the Roundball Review and the numerous streaming shows would pick Oak State to win that game. So if that happens, that'd be loss number 7, which means the Cougs would not finish with a record of 500 or better. The best they could be would be 5-7. 5-7 would not be a successful season, according to AD Kris Pesman. But if the Cougs win this Saturday against the Bears in Waco, the chances improve for them to finish at 6-6 and be bowl eligible, which would be a successful season per Kris Pesman the first year for Houston in the Big 12. So what say you for those who want Dana gone? What do you want to happen this Saturday? If you want Dana to be fired, be a fan of the Cougs, be an alum of the Cougs, be a friend of the program of the Cougs. But for the betterment of the Cougs going forward, in the future, would it be more beneficial, or does it even matter, for Houston to lose this Saturday in Waco to the Bears and thereby increase the chances of not finishing 6-6 if that means Dana Holgorsen would not be brought back for a second year in the Big 12 or year 6 for him overall at Houston? What do you think? Let me know in these closing moments of this edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover. This is Throwback Thursday of the lunch break, but Thursdays is the Houston Roundball Review Takeover. Look for advertisers for this show, my portion of the lunch break. Reach me at the platform there, Houston Roundball Review, or go to my site on Linktree/Houston Roundball Review. And of course, I forgot, I got the Roundball Review merch as well: mugs, shirts, tank tops, hoodies. Yes, hoodies not available because it's getting cool. Well, I don't know what it is up there in Columbus, in Akron, but it's hoodie weather for one more day here in Houston. But yes, this is the sad truth. UH alums, friends, agree with this. UH moves the goalpost so much. Dana could go 5-7, 4-8, hell, 3-9, and still be brought back for year 2 in the Big 12. Because as Will said, but don't coaches get fired for going 8-4? Well, they used to. They're used to. They don't anymore. Rex with a great comment. He wants Dana to treat this Saturday's game like he treats recruiting. Then the administration may wake up. Hey, something needs to happen for the UH administrators to wake up. And I've said it so many times, and I apologize if I sound like a broken record. But you have an example of a winning culture, of a winning program on campus. And yet you don't hold your other coaches in athletics to that same standard of your winning culture that you already have on campus. Men's basketball has established a winning culture, is nationally relevant in its sport. And yet the administrators look around in other sports, in football and baseball. Volleyball is doing well, so it's like there. And they're like, well, they mean well. They're trying. Let's keep giving them more and more coaches on staff. Let's keep giving them all these other things, these amenities. And maybe they'll okay. All right. Well, Tony M., another good comment here. Those people are going to do what those good old people are going to do. And that is a problem with Houston. Tonight's low, 28 in Ohio. Let's see. This morning, north of Houston. I want to say there was some light freezes, a little bit, maybe 33 or so. Football, oh no, Miss Wanda, I slightly disagree. Football does have a culture. It's just not a culture of accountability. It's a culture of excuses. That's a culture as well. The AD's looking for jobs. Yeah, because I have no idea why. A salute to his agent for putting his name out there for the job at Washington. Washington, boy. A lot of UH fans said, please take him, please, go ahead. Tony M, he's frustrated. I'm over it. They don't want to wake up. Just going to start treating them like I did the Texans until they decide to care. Well, we'll see. But two things, these final moments of this edition of the Roundball Review Takeover. Coach Ime Udoka made this comment, and very straightforward. He seemed like a coach who's going to tell it to us straight, media and fans. This comment was said, matter of fact, basically, the Rockets are not good enough yet to go through the motions. Check it out.
Good, obviously, but like I said, you're a shot, a free throw away from going 2-2 instead of being 0-3 or 1-3. But yeah, it's always good to get the first one. I think we have played well enough at times, but haven't been consistent enough, and that's been my message more so than anything. Is like we continue to play at the proper, with the proper intensity and focus, we'd be in good shape in those games. Even the Golden State taking the late lead, and so we're not good enough to float in and out of it, and so that's been the message. And if we put it together, we can do this. But still in guard as well as we should have, but we're obviously able to get out and score, shoot the ball well, and put up 128.
We're not good enough to float in and out of it. That's true about the Rockets. They play well in spurts. They have good moments. Last night, they played well a little bit. Played well for probably 3 quarters. Had an 18-point lead in the second quarter against the Hornets. Stopped doing what they did to get that lead, and it shrunk to 3. Basketball is not sports is not complicated. If you stop doing what you did to get that big lead, teams will come back on you. As my woeful Detroit Pistons found out Wednesday night, when they blew an 18-point lead and lost to Scoot Henderson and the Portland Trailblazers. But this other comment, real quick comment from Coach Udoka. I'm not sure he's supposed to say this, but he mentioned it during his post-game presser regarding rookie Amen Thompson and his injury. Amen's injury.
Thompson. He has a grade 2 ankle sprain. I'm going to go check on him now. I'm not sure what that means time frame-wise.
A grade 2 ankle sprain. That involves ligaments. Roughly, that could be anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. If it is indeed has been confirmed today that Amen Thompson has a grade 2 ankle sprain, and it's the right ankle. Saw him on crutches last night after the game, and Amen was struggling on those crutches. But he injured his left ankle in Vegas in Summer League. So now young fellas sprained both ankles. So that could be an issue for him the rest of this season. And he rolled his foot, stepped on someone's foot last night during the game. Just bad luck. It's a bad sprain. He was helped off the court on crutches after the game. So if it's confirmed that the injury is a grade 2 sprain of his right ankle, could be out anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. So combine him, Amen out with Tari Eason out, probably for at least another week with Tari. Rockets are down 2 key players, 2 key young players, versatile players, good defenders. So we'll see how that impacts them as long as those 2 guys are out and missing games. But I think they're on the right path. All right, cover the Rockets one more time. Let me see if I can pull it up. The Rockets City Edition uniform. There's part of it. Here's another look at the uniform right there. And yes, the injuries to Tari and Amin keeps Cam Whitmore with the Rockets, not in G League. Might even give some run to Nate Hinton as a wing guy come off the bench to hustle, grit and grind, rebound, defend, get after this Nate Hinton type things. So it might give Nate some minutes as he signed a 2-year, two-way contract with the Rockets. So he with the big club and see he can take advantage of the 50 games that he'll get a chance to be with the big club. So good luck to him. Yes. But hey, Coogs at Baylor, wrap it up in these closing moments. Tickets in Waco available for as low as $5. Yes, $5. Two fan bases not thrilled with either head coach. Games on ESPN Plus. See how it goes. But as always, tell your friends about the Houston Roundball Review. Tell your friends about BS3 TV. Tell your friends about JM&E. The Houston Roundball Review takeover. Changes is coming. Changes are coming. We'll see if those changes are for the good, for the better, or for the worse. But change is coming for the Houston Roundball Review. But thank you to everyone. One more time. Run a little bit long here. A lot of great comments. Great fan support. I always appreciate the comments from the audience. Comments from the top rope are great as well. But wrapping it up as always, the Houston Roundball Review, been around since 1994. Got merch. Looking for advertisers for this show and all the Roundball Review shows. Basketball is here. The season is here. 'Tis the season. But yes, the Houston Roundball Review since 1994. Local name, global perspective. Y'all take care. Peace.
It's Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know. Today, it's Friday Eve, Thursday, November 2nd, 2023. Number one, President Biden traveled to Minnesota Wednesday for what the White House described as an opportunity to highlight investments in rural American communities. Some political observers say the choice of Minnesota was not a coincidence, as it is the home state of Mr. Biden's latest primary challenger, Congressman Dean Phillips. Last week, the 54-year-old Phillips announced his challenge to an incumbent president who he says should step aside to make way for a new generation. Many leading black Democrats are said to be looking at Phillips' candidacy as a slap in the collective face of the foundation of the Democratic Party, beginning his campaign in the very white state of New Hampshire as opposed to the new first primary state of South Carolina, as designated by the head of the Democratic Party, Joe Biden. Number two, scholars have embarked on extensive research into the effect of slavery on the country of Brazil's institutions. Their work has prompted prosecutors to launch a groundbreaking investigation into the historical ties between the slave trade and Banco do Brasil. The investigation into Banco do Brasil and the proactive approach by descendants of slave owners in presenting their family's history is seen as a timely political development. Number three, atopic dermatitis, also called eczema, is a chronic skin disease resulting in very itchy, dry rashes or patches. Research has shown the risk for atopic dermatitis may be higher among individuals of color. The reasons for this are still unknown, but are believed to involve genetics, ancestry, social, and environmental factors. Number four, on October 18th, Amy Malone spoke about her concerns at a San Bernardino, California city council meeting about the city hiring of Charles Montoya as a city manager. While speaking, she was interrupted by two men on Zoom who said, "Go back to Africa," and used derogatory terms, including the N-word. But instead of condemning the comments, the mayor pro tem, Fred Shorett, said it wasn't something they could control. Well, Ms. Malone condemned the non-condemnation by saying that is something that should never have happened. Number five, in the next few days, most Americans will be getting that extra hour of sleep overnight with the time change occurring Sunday morning. Experts say the fall shift back to standard time may increase depression and affect your mental health. One reason is that the end of daylight saving time brings about reduced light and shorter fall and winter days. And this change may increase seasonal affective disorder, a type of depression triggered by the changing of the seasons and wanting daylight. Here's your daily inspiration from Yogi's Jewels. Fun is the glue that binds friends together. Join me today live on YouTube and Facebook at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central with my friend and contributor, Aprilette Russell, as we discuss today's top headlines and more. Thank you to our What You Need to Know partners, the American Heart Association and Black Health Matters. Barbara Scotia College, an HBCU in Concord, North Carolina, needs our help. The What You Need to Know team is asking supporters, alumni, and friends of Barbara Scotia to help them meet their immediate and pressing needs by donating to help Barbara Scotia rise. Please join the thousands of donors from around the world who are stepping up to save one of the nation's oldest HBCUs. Please visit SybilWilkes.com for more information. And check out a celebration of Black filmmakers rooted in the HBCU culture. That's November 10th through the 12th at Howard University's Blackburn Center. I'm Sybil Wilkes. Be informed, be empowered.